Hello, and welcome back to Tells. My name is Busi, and this podcast is on poker and love.
And love.
And love. I'm joined by my very handsome co-host, Andrew Neeme.
Thanks, love.
Hello, Andrew Neeme.
You look very handsome today, too.
Thank you. It's still so weird.
I've used that joke before.
You have. You are like a dad.
You look pretty. How about that?
Thank you.
You look scrumptious. I'm like a dad recycling my material.
Yeah, full of dad jokes.
I'm just getting prepared. Should we give them the news?
What news?
We're not pregnant. But maybe one day we will be. You never know. Tune in next week to find out.
Okay, this is not where I thought this conversation would begin, but that's okay.
You never know.
You do. That's the truth.
You're all flustered now, aren't you?
You never know.
What's happening in your life,
Um,
Miss Busi?
I am healthy
Okay.
and fed,
Yeah.
and I'm very grateful for that.
Good.
But I do feel a little cabin fever,
Oh,
you know?
I feel you on that one. I think
Yeah.
it's like, not to put words or feelings into your mouth or brain or body, but my cabin fever, I think, might stem a little bit from the fact that, like, the vaccine is here. It exists. It's been invented. It's starting to roll out, but it's really slowly. So it's like, come on, we have the answer. Get it in my veins and let me out of here. Not that I hate being here with you or anything, but I have things I would like to do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not even that.
I know it's not, because
I'm not rushing to get the vaccine for any particular reason, because I don't think that is the solution for all the things anyway, right?
Okay.
So hopefully
what is your cabin fever stemming from, do you think?
just a lot of the same, I think.
Yeah.
Very routine
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yep.
Just work, nothing on weekends, really.
You got some flowers this week.
I did get some flowers. Surprise flowers. That
Lucky
was
you.
really sweet of you. Andrew bought me flowers. And I had sent flowers on the same day
To a friend?
to a friend. And when the flower box arrived, I was like, what is this doing here? It's supposed to be in California.
Yep.
But then when I was coming up the elevator, I told you, I was like, well, maybe I deserve flowers too. And sure enough, they were flowers for me.
For you.
Yeah. Why did you buy me flowers?
Because, why not? Why you sound so surprised that you got flowers from me?
Because
It's kind of a bad thing if it's such a surprise that I got you flowers. It seems like it probably doesn't happen often enough if that's your reaction.
yeah, I was very surprised. I was like, what did you do?
But you're just, I guess the impetus was for you driving my blind self to the eye doctor a couple times and hanging out there and jump starting your battery after it died by the time I got back in the car before, so I didn't have to deal with that. But yeah, post eye surgery, and then you're just kind of like, no matter what it is, you're always there, always got my back. So you deserve some flowers for that. You deserve flowers at any point in reality.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't usually buy me flowers. Birthdays, maybe. But it's not like a just because. But if you continue to do that, it is appreciated.
You do like your flowers.
I do like flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Should we plug Books?
Sure.
So I use this flower service called Books, and it's a startup. The flowers come from very far, which I kind of don't know how to feel about that.
Why?
Flowers coming on an airplane when
Oh.
there's soil in America.
When someone could easily just go dig up a cactus and give it to you.
But the flowers are so much better than anything I've ever ordered from these 1-800 flowers or whatever. Flowers Direct, whatever these, what are they called? Like legacy flower shops?
Sure. This podcast is not sponsored by Books.
Books, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast on poker and love.
If anybody happens to work for Books out there, drop us an email. hello@telluspodcast.com.
I'm a fan.
I believe they were on Shark Tank.
Oh, you did tell me that.
My favorite show in the world.
It is your favorite show.
I believe the flowers are growing on the side of a volcano.
In Guatemala, right?
Sounds possible.
How big a fan of Shark Tank are you then, Andrew?
I don't know.
I saw this meme about how, you know how people always talk about this like entrepreneur life?
Yeah.
And somebody was ripping that sort of bro entrepreneur hustle all day type of life, where he wakes up and reads, Ryan Holiday's How to Become a Stoic. And they're doing all the things, but never actually any work.
Yeah.
And then ends his day with watching his favorite show, which is Shark Tank. I just laughed because
you thought of me?
No, how much you love Shark Tank.
Yeah, it's the best.
But yeah.
Love me some Shark Tank.
Thank you for the flowers.
You're welcome.
That was very sweet of you.
You're welcome.
You know, every time I'm like, oh, let's go somewhere, then I'm hesitant because obviously traveling is not quite as fun or as smooth at the moment.
Yeah, flying and going through airports and everything probably kind of sucks right now. But I feel like if we just did like some minor research, we could probably find plenty of places that are like contactless like the entire way, you know? Like a nice Airbnb in on the side of a volcano or something. Like, what was it called? Linwood? Is that where we went?
Where?
In California?
Don't tell people our secrets. Idlewild.
Okay. But places like that, I feel like there's got to be plenty where you don't really have to interact with too many people. Can still do the social distancing thing and get out of our little cabin fever environment.
So you think it's time to go on a little exploration?
I think it is. I think it's probably overdue.
Yeah. Maybe we should.
Because we used to, I mean, at least I would go to California like once a month with the meetup games, and we would go various places.
Somewhere. Yeah, like I want to go to Oaxaca. You know, you know how much I love Mexico. So it's just like Oaxaca, Guanajuato, all these places that have just been on my list, and now the list is getting longer. So
you seem like you're not generally unhappy though.
Besides the cabin fever feeling?
Like as a result of the cabin fever stuff. Like I haven't picked up on general depression. So either you're internalizing a lot of it or it's not affecting you too deeply.
I don't think it's affecting me as deeply because when put in context, right, it's like such a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things.
What do you mean, like this lockdown thing?
Yeah, just like not being able to travel wherever you want at the drop of a hat.
I guess so, but I think it's kind of a decent stretch by this time.
It is, but you've lived 40 years. I've lived 35 years. It's not that big of a deal.
I don't remember like the first, 8 years of it though.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, so I'm just, trying to just put it into context and not be a brat because there are people who don't even...
Sure.
That's not even on the radar.
That's true.
That's true. But I'm also internalizing a lot.
Gotta let it out, baby.
To who?
To me. Pile it on me. I can take it. I've been working out again.
But yeah, I've been learning a lot about feelings.
You have?
Lately. Like at the beginning, I think it was end of last year or beginning of the year. No, end of last year where I was talking about feelings, remember? And I was sharing with you about how our feelings are actually formed. How there's like 5 basic emotions. But the emotion is just like universal. Everybody feels anger, sadness. But like love, if you think of love as a combination of joy and safety, and that creates love, which might not be as universal. But also the point is that an emotion is universal. Like everybody will feel these emotions, but your feelings are the thoughts you attach to these visceral sensations that happen in your body.
All right. Sounds like you're getting deep in the lab.
So I got a recommendation from our friend James about a book with regards to trading and emotions, and how the idea of not taking into account your emotions is so detrimental, because they are communicating to you, obviously in a non-verbal way, on what you should be paying attention to. So you miscalculate the risk. That's what
when you feel more what?
When you feel the emotion. So I've been reading some studies by Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, who's a neuroscience, whose whole work is around emotions. And she says, like she shows graphs of where you feel emotions in your body. So like anger, like love is all over, and depression as well is like from the head all the way to the legs, whereas like anger is here, or like shame is in your stomach. Like shame and anxiety is always in the solar plexus.
I feel anger in my left hand especially. That's the hand that I raise with. Particularly pre-flop.
So that's where you
I get a lot of anger in this raising a hand.
Why do you always do that? You always try and like deflect seriousness. You'll always be like, I feel. Or just like interrupt the thought. Why do you do that, do you think?
Probably because it's funny.
I could have a completely different reaction. I could have rage to your interrupting me.
Only if I like permanently derailed the conversation would you be rageful.
Yes, but the point of that whole rant was to say that when you feel emotion in your body and you don't acknowledge that emotion, so I'm feeling afraid, I'm feeling agitated, which sometimes I do sitting in front of my computer, you then misperceive the risk. Like I've always told you, there's like fuck it trades. Yeah. Where you're just, the rational thought is turned off and you're like, fuck it. And then you hit the button when you're not supposed to.
Right.
So I think maybe that's why I'm not talking about my emotions so much, because I'm trying to learn how to better express them. Like, what is it actually that I'm feeling? Because a lot of the time I feel neutral.
It seems like it's very advanced on like the self-awareness journey as far as like humankind goes. Seems like it's like pretty far beyond 101.
What do you mean? Emotions and feelings?
I just think about like all the people that are out there that are so many steps behind this aspect of understanding themselves and just like being self-aware and like communicating how they like look at themselves and how they feel and their emotions and all that stuff. You know how there's like the wealth gap? I think there's like the self-awareness gap.
Oh, for sure.
Which is equally as damaging to society when those people get left behind and other people are advancing so far.
Yeah, but I think if you don't have...
I'm not saying it's your fault. But
yeah, but if you don't have to use it, why would you go there? Right? Like for me, I lose money. The less self-aware I am, the more money I lose.
Yeah, but you know that. I think everybody loses something when they aren't self-aware.
And I was talking to my friend who's a psychologist, and she was saying, because I asked her, I said, how do you talk to your patients about feelings? And she says that a lot of the time we think our feelings. She'll say, so this happened to you. How did it make you feel? I think I got up and like slammed the door or something. And she's like, okay, that was the action from but what was the feeling? And she said it's really difficult for us to identify emotion and like know what it is that we're feeling. So yeah, that's my little journey at the moment, and I'm trying to see how I could share that in a more like a way that makes it not so serious, you know?
In a way that makes it not so serious?
Yeah, because the more serious something is labeled, the harder it is. Nobody wants to experience pain, you know? But if you know, it's just like, oh, this is just what you do. I feel like a lot of, if we could learn the way we watch Netflix, that would be the ideal, no? Where there's like no pressure.
Like based on like which like TV show or movie you're selecting or what?
No, just how, I mean, when you watch Netflix, there's no quiz at the end. There's no like, you have to do this. But those things have the most influence on us because it's so subtle, right?
Yeah.
Like watching the news, watching shows, you're just watching passively. But it's so subtle, but the impact on you is so high.
What if there was like a little like data collection thing on Netflix where before or after you watch your selection, it asks you how you're feeling today. And then we got feedback on like what people are watching based on how they're feeling.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting.
But even if you could say, I'm feeling, and then Netflix would spin through and find you.
Based on suggestions from what other people are feeling and watching?
Yeah, but also like maybe how you want to feel. So I'm feeling this, how do I want to feel?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're like, I'm heartbroken. Like I never understood people who are heartbroken and listen to sad songs. I mean, that makes you feel more sad.
Some people just want a good cry though.
I don't need
so I'm told.
I don't need a sad song to make me cry. I'm already sad. You know, like
Maybe
I want
they're
something.
just not ready to be lifted up.
I
They want
guess.
to dwell. I don't know.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of like bypassing of emotions.
I don't get sad, so I don't know. There's probably something wrong with me. It's probably been a while since I've had like much of a reason to be sad.
No, but I don't think that's how it works.
How life works? What is there to be sad about in my life?
No. No. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean that because your feeling, remember, is based on your thoughts, right? Like your thoughts and your previous experience when you felt the sensation in your body. The emotion is, how do you feel in your body? Where is it hot? Where is it tingling? And then your feeling is like, when I was 5 and it was tingling here, it was because my brother broke my bike. Yeah. And that's the association. So I could be sad when nothing's happening, and maybe a thought was just triggered, and then I get sad.
I think I have some lab work to do. Come speak to me in 5 years, which is usually about the time I catch up to the thing you were talking about today. 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, but I think that's a lot of tilt, no? Like in poker.
What?
An overwhelming of emotion. Like your body gets overwhelmed by emotion, so the logic is shut off.
Yeah. Sure.
So you have to, like, I think you acknowledge that, but you might not know what the word is, right? You know, because in poker it's blanket. It's like, I'm tilted. Anger.
Usually, yeah.
Frustration, that all goes into the tilt bucket. Anyway, that's where I am working through articulating my feelings.
Nice.
So just know that once I am able to articulate them fully,
I'll be hearing all about it.
You're going to get an earful.
Under my beanie.
I know. Why are you wearing a beanie hiding your beautiful hair?
Well, I went out for a coffee just before we kicked off today's episode.
I thought you were not supposed to drink coffee.
I've been off of it.
So why are you going back?
We didn't tell them why I haven't been drinking coffee. we got a suggestion from an ear specialist,
an audiologist,
that no caffeine, no alcohol, and maybe like trying to reduce stress would help with ringing in the ears, which I have ongoing.
Yeah.
I have tinnitus, which I've had for a super long time.
So do you have regret about not wearing ear protection when you were younger?
Sure do. I have regret about it.
Did you forgive yourself about that decision?
I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not.
Well, you should.
Well, I mean, I know that like I didn't really know that it would come to this. It wasn't like out of laziness. I just didn't think that there would be this issue.
There wouldn't be damage.
Anyway, yeah, from like playing drums and like going to a lot of concerts and stuff, rock concerts. I have ringing in my ears, tinnitus as they call it, and there's no cure for it. But yeah, like ever since, I'm not sure why, if it's just because I've been spending more time in like quiet. Like at home, but I've noticed it a lot more ever since all the social distancing stuff has been going on. And normally it doesn't like bother me much at all, but like since this time, it's been more annoying than ever. But so I don't know if it's like getting worse, which I think it might also be, or if it's just that. So anyway, been laying off the caffeine, but I think like a latte every other week is probably not that big of a deal. If it is, then I'm just screwed. It's crazy that they can't come up with some sort of cure for this thing, because there's got to be like tons and tons of people that suffer from it.
Well, remember when I went to the doctor end of last year, there is some movement in the whole ear game, because his son, was saying, you know, but that's like more.
Sign me up for that surgery. You know I like surgery. You'll drive me right.
So now it's your whole face, eyes, ears, nose. You're going to get a nose job next. Get some mouth work done. No,
probably not. But I would get the ear surgery if it's possible. I'm surprised there's no like, you know how there's like noise canceling headphones? I'm surprised there's no like earbuds types things that like feeds you some sort of wavelength that cancels out the ringing.
The ringing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I just invented that right here on Tells.
Maybe. Yeah, but
if
I mean,
anyone wants to run with that idea, go ahead.
Yeah, if you're an ear specialist.
I'll put the word out there. Yeah.
Will you tell us about what's happening in the poker world? I mean, there were some legal developments.
There was.
What were those? I just saw the headline. I was like, Andrew will fill me in. I did not read it.
There's a Wire Act update, something that's been going back and forth ever since the dawn of time, or since 1961 or so.
This is about how you transfer money transfer gambling money. Is this right?
Yeah, across states in particular is what it's all about.
Okay.
So they originally made this thing back in the early 1960s that said you can't use, basically like telephones was the idea, to transmit sports betting information or wagers.
Got it. Okay.
So the various people that had interests in gaming, in the gaming industry, says, well, this should apply to all sorts of wagering and all sorts of media, mainly the internet. So for a long time, this was like a hiccup or a roadblock in expanding online gaming throughout the U.S., which has been extremely slow. So anyway, there was a ruling in a court that is one step below the Supreme Court, a ruling on the memo which the Department of Justice issued, which is basically their thoughts on this act as time goes on. Since, like, again, this is from the early 1960s, so there has to be like some sort of, thoughts on something that so much technology has been invented since then. So the ruling in this court was that it just applies to sports betting. So therefore, if you are a poker company with operations in Pennsylvania and Nevada, for example, you don't have to worry about this law because it just applies to sports betting, and you can pool your players that are in those two states. They can play against each other. Information and wagers can pass back and forth between the states. It's all good. So that should mean Pennsylvania can link up with Nevada and New Jersey on WSOP, for example. Michigan just passed online gaming and is now up and running. Poker not yet, but soon. So they should be able to join in.
So you couldn't play with the New Jersey pool on WSOP right now, or you could?
So WSOP, while all this was going on in the background, they're like, we're just going to keep the player pool as it is. We're going to risk it. We're not going to.
So it has been combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because again, this memo has been discussed, and there's not this memo, but this act there's been various memos that have been passed down
for 60 years.
Yeah, depending on like which administration is in power, how much influence various entities have had, how much lobbying they're doing to the Department of Justice and all that stuff. But anyway, the thoughts are that it probably won't go to the Supreme Court since now there's a blue administration. Sheldon Adelson is no longer with us. He was throwing all the money at it to fight it. And the Supreme Court might not even hear it in the first place. So it's looking good for online poker again in the U.S. Somewhat good. I mean, who knows how long it'll take still to roll out. Who knows?
So they said it
could be decades.
They just updated the memo.
So basically, like the lotto company in New Hampshire sued the Department of Justice because the lotto company wants to also pool states so that they can make bigger prize pools for the lottery that looks more exciting to get more people to buy it, et cetera, lotto tickets. So the Department of Justice got sued by them. They went to court.
How do you
sue
a Department of Justice?
Well, you can sue the government,
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then it goes to the courts.
Okay.
That's thankfully we have this separation of powers, so that one is never too powerful. The courts can be like, you guys are overreaching here. Sit back down,
Okay. Well, that's a lot more than I bargained for. So if you started a poker company today, you still have to lobby each state to get a license, right? So
each state, you have to get licensed in each state that you want to operate in, yeah.
So that's still a hindrance to having poker having poker in all the states all at once, even though this Wire Act is no longer a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. It seems like the federal government is more interested in letting each state decide whether they want to authorize that rather than be overreaching, because there's so many like different situations in each state, but especially when it comes to like tribes, Native American gaming. So they've in a lot of situations, the tribes have been granted like some sense of like exclusivity for gaming in like, especially in California. So that's the big reason why California has been so slow. It's because there's so many tribes going on and there's different interests. And so there's like, when they made a deal with tribes for them to be able to offer gaming, they basically said, we won't compete with you. They'll like set a certain number of licenses and then that's it. So then if online gaming comes along, tribes can say, well, this is competing with our exclusive licensing deal. So then they have to like battle over that and make a new deal and all sorts of stuff.
Well,
so
they should have made better deals in the beginning, then they wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know. Who knows what's going on with like at the federal level with gaming? It doesn't seem to be like towards the top of the list of things to do.
Yeah, it's hard to have that be the top of the list, right?
So that is your Tells weekly update on online gaming and the Wire Act of 1961.
Thank you, Andrew Neeme, for a very in-depth.
Sure.
And what else did you say? You said you had you had gossip. Do you have gossip?
I always find it interesting. Like I was on Twitter the other day, meaning every other hour.
Okay.
And
no judgment.
So the Doug versus Daniel match is going on, which is one of the most interesting things going on in poker at the moment.
How much longer is that going on for?
I think they played like 19,000 hands.
Oh, it's up to 25,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, the person who's losing can quit anytime, but it doesn't look like
either is quitting.
Nah. Doug will never quit because he thinks he has an edge, which he probably does, and Daniel has a lot of Daniel in him. So speaking of Daniel, so Daniel's like, it's been interesting because I've been, I guess, a fan of Daniel like over the years that I've been into poker, and he's sort of like his personality, at least like the way he presents himself publicly, has changed over the years. He used to be like pretty clean cut kind of personality. Aside from spending all his time in casinos and stuff and gambling, but
that's not clean. Spending all your time in casinos doesn't bode well for a clean.
Depends who you ask. So yeah, I mean, like he never used to like swear, in either interviews or like he would, make his own content via blogs and video posts and stuff. So yeah, he would just like, his nickname was Kid Poker. Kind of had like this affable kid personality to him, even though he was like not a kid. So that's like done a complete 180, and now he's always like
angry Daniel.
Not always angry, but he seems to have like no filter anymore. If he's like tilting, like he often is while he's losing in this challenge, he'll swear up a storm. He talks about how he's left with if he misses a flush draw or something, he's left with his dick in his hand, is the latest phrase that he's come to be known for now.
Okay.
So I saw like Norm, who is one of the most well-known commentators in poker, talk about how, I don't know, embarrassing this is, I guess, for poker, because Daniel is the number one ambassador for poker. And I just find it interesting because I don't know if like what is an ambassador of poker? It's a very unofficial thing because there's no like one entity, no one major entity in poker. Like in basketball, there's the NBA. And so there might be like all these teams that have different owners, but they all play in the National Basketball Association. And in poker, we have like GG Poker, we have WSOP.com, we have PokerStars, we have MGM, Caesars. We have these different companies, but there's no like one competitive league or anything that everybody plays in.
Yeah, I mean, WSOP is the closest to that, no? Like
they're definitely one of the, I mean, they're probably one of, if not the biggest brand, maybe alongside PokerStars.
The idea is that if somebody who's outside of poker, the person that they would know of first is Daniel Negreanu, because he's on Masterclass, like if
he's got the most followers on Twitter.
If you watched anything on ESPN, like scrolling through and poker was on, like, you would see Daniel. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I have a point to any of it. I just find it interesting because like, what is an ambassador exactly?
It's like somebody who makes the thing look its best. It's not somebody who just.
But how do you decide what is best exactly?
Well, in today's society, it's like what's most polite, ruffles the least amount of feathers.
Is that though? Is that true?
Unless you're Kim Kardashian.
Well, there you go. What about what's her name? Cardi B.
Oh, because of like songs like WAP.
Yeah.
She did WAP.
Yeah.
But I guess the same thing. When you don't, what would you put Cardi B in though? It's a little bit different. Like you wouldn't say when you think of a female musician, you think of Cardi B because there's so many.
But why wouldn't you, right? Because like she's out there like hustling and getting her money and enriching herself and getting the power and living her best life.
Yeah, but she's not the only one. Like,
sure, I know.
Cardi B is as well known as Megan Thee Stallion, as well known as Katy Perry. Okay, you don't know her, but you know what I mean. Like, if you're just talking female, it's like comparing Chance the Rapper to another rapper.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, is there, like, what is best? Like by whose eyes determines like what's.
That's
best.
what I mean. I think it's just in periods past. It's like who's the
I agree with
most
that.
polite, doesn't ruffle feathers, but makes this thing appealing, right? Because if somebody invited you to a party where everybody is already drunk, like there's nothing pulling you to that party.
Right.
Or if somebody invited you as a dude to a party with like all other dudes, it's hardly going to draw you. But if you're like, yo, dude, there's girls at this party, you're more likely to try and go to that party. No?
Sure.
So I think it's what makes people feel the most comfortable is the ambassador. So Daniel was always regarded as a person. It's not like some people don't like, people like Phil Hellmuth, but we've known Phil Hellmuth has never been this like sweet, polite. Phil's always just said whatever he wanted.
Well, I think another aspect of it is the fact that before you had to play the polite game, because the way the media worked is that all the eyeballs were on television, and they weren't allowed certain things. You couldn't swear on TV due to like regulations, as well as the advertisers that were going to be associated with the product and what sort of content that they wanted to be associated with.
So do you think maybe Daniel was always inside wanting to swear, but
I think
because of
if I had to guess, it would be a couple of different things. I
don't
want to get
Let's
into.
just guess.
Well, I think like his parents were around before, especially his mom, and he had a real close relationship with his mom.
She's passed on now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I still think about like what would my parents think if I put like something out on the vlog or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing. Again, I'm not trying to dig too deep in Daniel's mind, but it's possible. So
and
there's
I
that.
think growing older too, just less fucks given.
Well, the other thing, there's another thing. He has fuck you money. So he can literally do whatever the hell he wants to do in life and be fine. And then the other thing is the way media works now. You don't have to rely on
ESPN.
Yeah, or CBS or whoever's airing the poker. You can just have a YouTube channel and a Twitter account and get your message out, whatever message that is, and you're not going to have to watch your mouth.
Well, let us know, listeners of Tel's podcast. What do you think?
Let us know.
What do you think?
Get inside Daniel's mind.
Get inside Daniel's mind. Let us know what you think has been the change in Daniel's
life
presentation to the world.
Sure.
I'd like to know what you think. We received a message from 571. It said, "Hey Andrew, enjoying the show more and more. The LASIK procedure description was gross and scary, but glad you're doing great. Most importantly, thanks for doing your part and staying safe. Miss your poker content, but I'm sure that'll come back one day. Stay safe. And Busi, thanks for being so delightful and funny. Keep it coming." I'm funny.
And delightful.
Delightful. Funny.
Funny. You are funny. You're funny. Poker content will be back. 518, is that correct?
571.
571.
That was so far off.
I got the first number right. Poker stuff will come back. LASIK appears to be a complete success. Went in for my 1 week update, 1 week checkup, whatever it's called, yesterday.
And the doctor said the flap heals in how long?
A day, basically.
Magic.
So I think I was wrong.
Magic.
I think I was wrong about it being like a scalpel even. I think it's that part is a laser as well, like a handheld laser.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I think I was wrong about
like
slicing into your eye.
Burning.
I think so.
Ooh. But they lift the flap.
Well, he said it used to be a knife, but he says now it's a laser.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for clearing it up.
But yes, they lift the flap. They're still getting in there and slicing and dicing.
From 314, we got, "Hi, Andrew and Busi. Just testing the Tel's text number. LOL. Cheers." My response was, "You got the right number." So send us a message.
Yeah, fire
away.
Let
us know about what you think about Daniel's thoughts, Daniel's presentation, Daniel as the poker ambassador. So from last week, we asked a question on what is it going to be burial, cremation, or composting. And Tim says he heard about a service where they press your remains into a vinyl record with music of your choice.
That
cool. Seems pretty cool.
Yeah, that seems great.
What genre of music would you have?
What if you accidentally dropped the record, though, and it smashed? Or you scratched it on the record player?
What genre of music would you have?
Probably rock.
Ooh.
Go to my roots. My rock roots.
Yeah, but you're dead. What music would you want me to listen to?
You like some rock. I mean, you like Muse.
Yeah, but I wouldn't listen to it as often. I mean, I think we should just do it.
I don't want you to be all depressed, just playing me all the time. You got to go live your life. Live your life, girl. What if you put me on while you were making love to somebody else?
Okay.
And the guy had no idea. And I got the last laugh.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a weird thought.
It is a very weird thought, but maybe if you make me a vinyl of yourself.
I want it to be something that's like fun, not like sad and depressing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be sad, but I would think that you would play either music that we both enjoyed. You'd want music that we both enjoyed.
You'd put me on that song. At last. At last I'm gone out of your life. That's what you would do.
I'd put you Etta James.
Yeah.
Harold said it's cremation, and Ed said, I told my wife to send me to a taxidermist and have me stuffed so she can put me out at Halloween in costume to scare the kids coming by the house. She was not a fan of that suggestion.
I like that.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, imagine even if you did that for your family, they could see you forever, like your kids' kids.
So weird. Quite weird.
All right. I think that is all we have time for on this episode of Tel's podcast. If you like this episode, please give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. And if you are listening on audio, you can write to us or text us. Our email is hello@telspodcast.com. And if you'd like to call us, leave us a voice message. It is 702-690-9299. Perhaps if we hadn't given the option to text, we would only get voice messages. Did I screw that up by giving a text option?
Nah, we would probably just get nothing.
Yeah.
Call us, text us, whatever you prefer.
Do you have any...
No pressure.
Do you have any final words, thoughts?
No.
Are you going to go and sit with your emotions?
Also, no.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.